Vaping's been in the news a lot recently, huh? You seen those scary stories about vaping? You see these poor schnooks over there taking one puff on the pen and one up in the hospital. First of all, this is a permanent marker. I don't vape at all. But I find this vape national healthcare crisis, this vape story crisis in media currently infecting its way across our newspapers and our televisions fascinating. Because I think it's illustrative of an interesting philosophical point about media. So this video, like the Bible, it's going to come to you in two parts. Old Testament anecdote, talk about vaping. New Testament, bigger picture, philosophy of media. But first, let's examine what this vaping crisis really is. What are the facts? What do we actually know? Because the media is pretty good at making us feel. Sometimes it's not so good at making us think. So let's think for a moment. Around 500 people from the last estimates have been hospitalized due to randomly vaping. And of those 500 people, 6 tragically, very tragically, seem to have passed away. Not seem to, they have indeed passed away. Forgive me. But 500 people, okay, how many people vape? Well, from the data sets, the most compelling, accurate data sets I could find, 9 million Americans vape every single day, which makes the likelihood that you and I are going to wind up in the hospital after taking a puff on a vape 0.005%. That's the statistical likelihood that the vape's going to have a negative impact on us, suddenly wind us in the hospital. 0.005%. That's pretty low. That's 1 in 18,000 people. You could take a small Midwest town and give a vape pen to every man, woman, and teenager over the age of 18 years old. Have them all vape at once. Maybe one person would go, oh, can't breathe. Maybe one person. Other than that, everybody would be totally fine. Tragic, yes. National health care crisis, definitely not. But those statistics, definitely not. 40,000 people get in auto accidents every single year in the United States. That is a way larger number. But that's not really considered a national health crisis. So why are we hearing about it in the media? Why are we hearing about vape hospitalizations in the media, but not all the people dying in auto accidents? Well, this gets to the heart of what makes something newsworthy. What's important and what's newsworthy are two different things. What's important can be a wide range of information that has deep impact on our day-to-day lives. What's newsworthy is anything that is a change in the normative sequence of events. It's a deviation from the norm. The fact that there's 40,000 auto accidents every year in the United States is not a deviation from the norm, sadly. That is business as usual. So it doesn't get reported. It's important, yeah, definitely. It's very important. That statistic is important. We'd love to bring it down. But is it a change in the normal sequence of events? No. Now, if 2 people were only getting auto accidents in the United States in 1 year, that would be newsworthy. So with that understanding, with the understanding that, hey, the Golden Gate Bridge, that thing stands up every single day. It doesn't collapse. That's super important. Super important, the marvel of modern engineering. Does that get reported? No. Because it's a normal sequence of events. The fact that it stays standing and people continue to get on auto accidents on the Golden Gate Bridge every day, that is not a deviation from the norm, sadly. Or maybe positively, that it's not collapsing. But vaping, on the other hand, it's been around for a decade. Most of the time people haven't been in the hospital. It's only recently we're seeing a deviation from the norm, a change in the sequence of events, where it becomes newsworthy. That's what's interesting about it. Important? No, not really. National crisis? No, not really. Newsworthy? Yeah, because it's a deviation from the norm. It's something abnormal. So that's why you often get stories that seem scary, or frightening, or exciting, but aren't actually that important. And it's an interesting way to think about the news when you think about what's being presented to us as consumers is newsworthy, but not necessarily important. What we're reading or we're seeing day to day on television are deviations from the norm. What's getting reported is only changes in sequences of events. That's what makes something newsworthy, not really whether it's important or not. Now, something that's newsworthy can be important. Some major attack or a change in president, that is both newsworthy and important. A new president, hey, that's newsworthy and important. But they don't always come as a package. And often, things are more newsworthy than they are important. And I find that a philosophical perspective to keep sometimes when I'm watching television or reading something on the internet, because otherwise I just lose my mind.